Hello, this is Dr. Dorothy Martin Neville. I'd like to talk to you about what I have seen in my experience of working with women in leadership. Women in leadership have really come quite a ways. We've got a long way to go, but we're starting. At this point in time, we've got 19.8% of Congress is female. In a state legislative way, 25.1% of those in office on a state level are female. We're working our way up as well into board seats. 19% of the boards in the top Fortune 100 have women on the board. That's progress, things are happening. And we have to accept that gender bias and double standards still exist. And yet, in my experience as a coach working in business leadership with women, I have found that there are so many patterns, so many traits that we are still doing that sabotage our ability to really move up the ladder in business. And even in the world of entrepreneurship, there's amazing things that are happening in entrepreneurship. Women businesses are developing at the rate of 5 to 1 rather than the general public. We are making billions of dollars as a group, hiring millions of employees, so really having a huge impact. So what that says to me is that there's a lot of really great success that's gaining momentum. Things are happening, things are changing, thank God, but things are changing and supporting us coming into a place of recognition. However, because of all of my experiences working with women in years past as a therapist and for the past 10 years or so as a women's coach, I have consistently found patterns, beliefs, mindsets, methods of communication that we as women still hold on to that sabotage our power, our strength, our ability to move up. As a result of that, I am forming a membership network for women leaders to really support women recognizing what's going on. Whether I work in group settings or with private clients, I consistently see some of the same difficulties that are happening for women. And I so very, very much want to support us coming into an awareness, a level of self-awareness, a level of emotional intelligence and mindfulness that supports us in really stepping forward into holding our place. This is just a quick interview here. I just want to invite you to take a look at a membership program I am developing and recognize. Give me a call, send me an email, send me an instant message. I would love to talk to you about it. Simple things, but things that if we are made aware, we have the option to change. We can't change what we don't recognize. Just an example, and I'm sure you've heard of it because it happens so frequently. A woman I was working with just this week, before going into a boardroom meeting, had talked a lot about some ideas she had with a peer of hers. When they got into the conference room, somewhere in the middle of the meeting, this man she had spoken to before entering presented all of her ideas as if they were his. What she did, which is not uncommon, was she sank back into a chair in anger, becoming smaller and smaller as she started to disappear. She knew it wasn't a smart move to attack him, to really take him on, because that would have set up all kinds of other dynamics. She would have been known as aggressive and difficult to work with and so forth. And the only option she knew of was to disappear. In speaking with me, however, I offered to her another option, another way that could be dealt with. When we learn to stand in our power, when we learn to own it, not defensively, not in reaction to, but simply know that we're in a position because we belong there. We have made it to those levels, whether it's in owning our own company and we're dealing with vendors, or we're dealing with banks in terms of loans, or we're in the corporate world and we're dealing in a board meeting. We are in those situations because we have worked hard enough to get there, and we deserve to be there and to succeed in those positions. So what I said to her was, what if instead of disappearing, or becoming aggressive, and thankfully she didn't do that, because aggression is always defense. And when I have people say to me, but that's just my personality, that's fine, but know that your personality is always in defense. When we are in power, we never go after, we never assault, we never attack. When we are in power, we simply claim our place. Another option I offered to her was simply to say, Bill, you presented everything I shared with you well, but there's a key point of my presentation that I want to add. It's a part you missed in recollecting what I told you. What I wanted to point out was this, because I think it brings the whole package together. What she has just done is acknowledged he shared. She didn't assault him. She didn't take him on. She didn't defensively deal with this. She exerted her power by mentioning, as I shared this with you before the meeting, I also wanted to emphasize this particular point. So people can look and hear and see, this is her argument. She did know it. She did bring it together cohesively because she knows this is hers. She's not going to fight to be seen. She's simply going to accept that she should be, because she's owning her leadership. She's owning her skill sets. Part of what sets us off so negatively, unfortunately, many times, is the need to be nice, the need to be liked. That's what causes us to disappear. We need to take a look at that, because when you play nice, and the opposite of nice is not bad, the opposite of nice is real, authentic, and powerful. So when we choose to stand up and claim that, to give up the nice girl, we cannot be a nice girl and a real woman at the same time. Become a real woman. You don't need to prove your worth. Those who don't want to see it will not see it. Those who already recognize your worth are not going to lose sight of it. So we have nothing to lose. We have nothing to prove. We also don't have a part we need to play. There are ways that we communicate, ways that we speak. Apologizing. Women can apologize more than any group. It's amazing what they can do. And in that apologizing, you eventually end up apologizing for your own existence. How is somebody going to respect your power and your authority when you're apologizing for your existence? We need to take a look at that. We also need to take a look at what happens in our language. If we can say it in 10 words, why say it in 150? That doesn't help others understand. It helps others get annoyed, and we lose respect. We don't present as professional. Notice that, avoiding tentative words. So many factors I would like to show you of never going into reaction. Powerful people never react. They only respond. These are just some of the points, some of the many, many points that we need to look at and recognize what it looks like when we own our leadership and entering this world of leadership, whether in our own business again or in corporate. We are there. We have to own that. And I had this amazing discussion with a woman I love very much. She is such a dear person who has been in my life for years. She was saying something to me the other day. She called in relationship to a client and was asking about this. I said, you're the leader in the situation. She's coming to you for your help. What is it that you want to offer? What is it that you want to say to her? You're the leader in this situation. And she said to me, I never saw myself as a leader. I saw myself as a practitioner. If somebody is following your advice, if somebody is following you, it means that you have chosen to step out front. It means you have chosen, in stepping out front, to lead. That makes you a leader. So own your leadership. Every one of us is born to leadership. Own it. If you own your own company, if you are taking charge of your own life, you are in leadership. Leadership is somebody others turn to. Leaders is somebody who has a strong opinion and puts that out there so others can follow, others can hear, others can learn from. That's a leader. A leader isn't necessarily a CEO. A leader isn't defined by making 7 or 8 figures. A leader is somebody who owns their authority, who owns their power, and has others turning to them for advice, for support, and for help. Recognize your leadership. Enter this world of women in leadership. Come together. Join me. I invite you. I welcome you. If this describes you at all, come take a look, talk to me about this. I'd love to have you join this group of women leaders so that we can all learn from each other. We can support each other. We can really go to a place where we recognize before we betray ourselves, before we play small, before we react instead of respond. Let's work now to get to that place where, in spite of double standards, in spite of gender bias, we can really stand up and show that we have the power, we have the ability, and we are more than ready. Don't wait to be invited. Walk in. As so many say, it's so much easier to apologize than to ask permission. All right. Thank you so very, very much. I'd love to have you join us. It would be a joy. I am so looking forward to this, supporting more and more women in their leadership going forward. Whatever level you're at, there is always room to grow. We're never done. All right. Thank you so very much.